Are you curious about discovering the most effective communication style? How would you define your own way of communicating? Are you more passive, passive-aggressive, aggressive, or assertive? This video will describe the 4 basic communication styles and help you become a more assertive communicator. Remember that scene from the first Rush Hour movie? You know, when Carter turns to Lee and goes, "Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?" Yeah, we've all been there in real life. Those moments when the person you're talking to seems to be on a completely different page or just doesn't quite get what you're saying. It makes you wonder, am I speaking a different language here? So let's make sure you never have to feel this way again. Let's get started. Passive communication. Think about that one person in your life, maybe a friend, a family member, or even a coworker, who always seems to be playing the nice card. Passive communication is their go-to style. It's like they're a pro at concealing their true feelings, thoughts, and needs behind a polite smile. Imagine the friend in your group who always puts others' needs ahead of their own. Even if it means their own desires take a backseat. They're the ultimate self-sacrificer, the one who struggles to assert their own preferences and openly express what they want. Say you're with a group of friends trying to decide where to go for dinner. Everyone agrees on Italian. Even though you don't like Italian and would rather have Mexican, you go along with what everyone else wants. Passive communicators are like masters of avoiding confrontation and conflict, even when it's at the expense of their own well-being. They're the ones who'd rather swallow their frustration than rock the boat. You've probably noticed that they're the first to apologize, even when an apology isn't warranted. Imagine you accidentally bump into someone on the street, and instead of the typical exchange of "excuse me," you find yourself profusely apologizing, even though it wasn't entirely your fault. This is a classic example of passive communication, when you take the blame even when it's not necessary. Saying no is like a tongue twister for them. When asked for favors or to take on extra tasks, they find it incredibly tough to say no. And all this bottled up pressure can lead to a boiling pot of frustration and resentment. So if this sounds familiar, you're likely in the passive communication zone. If you recognize this to be your communication style, let's take steps to find a balance between being considerate of others and standing up for yourself. Passive-aggressive communication. When someone has a passive-aggressive communication style, they don't show their true feelings directly. They might not like something, but instead of saying it plainly, they use sneaky actions. Even though they might seem okay on the surface and agree with things, they actually show their unhappiness in sneaky ways. If you know someone like this, you've probably seen them using sarcasm, giving compliments that aren't really nice, or doing things that mess things up subtly to let out their frustration without dealing with the problem openly. For example, let's say you're part of a group project at school, and a team member consistently shows up late to meetings. Instead of confronting them about their punctuality, you might say something like, "Oh, I didn't realize the meeting started an hour after the scheduled time." This comment might seem like a joke, but it's a way of hinting at your frustration about their lateness without directly addressing the issue. In essence, making snide or sarcastic remarks is a passive-aggressive way of communicating. You're expressing your annoyance or disagreement indirectly, using humor or irony to mask your true feelings. While these remarks might not seem confrontational on the surface, they often carry an underlying message that can create tension or confusion in relationships. It's a way of venting your frustrations without fully addressing the issue at hand. Here's another great example. Imagine your friend asks you to help them move to a new apartment this weekend, but instead of saying no directly, you decide to take a passive-aggressive approach. When the moving day arrives, you intentionally show up late and take your time getting started. You move slowly, dragging your feet and taking frequent breaks. You might even forget some important tools or supplies, causing delays. By deliberately procrastinating and being inefficient, you're expressing your displeasure with the request without openly refusing or discussing your reservations. Your actions speak louder than words, conveying your frustration in a subtle way. Aggressive communication. I think we all know what aggressive communication looks like. It goes without saying that when someone uses aggressive communication, they express their thoughts, feelings, and needs in a forceful and often confrontational way. People with an aggressive communication style often put their needs above others, and they may not care how others feel or the rights of the people they're communicating with. They often use harsh language, raise their voice, and resort to personal attacks to show their dominance over another person or to get their way. You've probably seen someone like this and can think of 1,000 examples in your head, but let me paint a picture. Someone who is an aggressive communicator will frequently yell and scream when they're unhappy with something or someone. they'll speak over others and insult others, all to assert their dominance. Aggression often leads to immediate results, as it demands attention and swift action from others. However, there's a huge downside to aggressive communication. It can create an environment of stress and anxiety. It's a reminder that finding a balance between being direct and respectful is crucial for effective and healthy communication. That brings us to the last but most effective communication style, and the one you've been waiting to hear all along: assertive communication. The assertive communication style is generally regarded as the most effective and healthy approach to interpersonal communication. It promotes open dialogue, mutual understanding, and the building of positive relationships. Developing assertiveness skills can greatly improve the effectiveness of your communication and overall well-being. Assertive communication involves expressing your thoughts, feelings, and needs in a confident, clear, and respectful manner while considering the rights and feelings of others. People with an assertive communication style can effectively express themselves without being overly passive or aggressive. They communicate with honesty and directness, while still showing empathy and understanding towards others. So now we get to the most important part of this video. How can you be an assertive communicator? After all, that's what we all aim for. It is the gold standard in communication styles. Here are 3 ways you can be more assertive. Practice self-awareness. This involves being in tune with your own thoughts, emotions, and desires. It's about understanding why you react the way you do in different situations and recognizing patterns in your communication style. When you're self-aware, you can pinpoint when you tend to be passive or aggressive. Being aware of your passive or aggressive tendencies enables you to consciously choose a more assertive approach. Instead of avoiding conversations or exploding with anger, you can express your thoughts and feelings clearly, calmly, and confidently. Use I statements. When expressing your thoughts or feelings, use I statements to convey your perspective without placing blame. For example, say, "I feel uncomfortable when," instead of "you always make me uncomfortable when." This approach focuses on your experience and encourages open dialogue. Placing blame is the easiest way to bring out aggression in another person, which would negate your attempts to be a better communicator. Set clear boundaries. Define your personal boundaries and communicate them clearly to others. This could involve saying no when you need to, prioritizing your time, and declining tasks that overwhelm you. Being assertive about your boundaries help prevent feelings of resentment and burnout. Keep in mind, developing an assertive communication style will take time. It's not a switch you can flip overnight. Our communication styles are shaped by a myriad of factors, like our observations of those around us, our upbringing, cultural norms, and even past experiences that might have left a mark. These influences can't be undone instantly. Start by taking small steps and implementing these techniques in low-stakes situations, and gradually apply them to more challenging conversations. With practice, you can build the confidence to express yourself clearly while respecting the feelings and perspectives of others. Before you go, share your thoughts about this video down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you can watch more content like this. If you know someone who could benefit from this information, please feel free to share this video with them. As always, don't forget to spread loving kindness to all beings around you and be the change you want to see in the world. See you next time.